Mike. Sunday at Mike's. I was about to say Mike Sunday. You don't want to spend Mike Sunday. Sunday at Mike's. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening. Whether you're watching live or if you're going to watch it on a rerun, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. I got one watching right now. Thank you. Two watching. Hey guys, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I'm sorry about this week. I didn't put up content this week because, quite frankly, I was exhausted. I shot the content last week. I spent most of the week mixing my album, getting it preparing for mastering. My friend Jock is going to do the mastering on it. And on top of all the other things that I have to do during the course of a week, so a lot of late nights. And I shot last week's content, which is miking my vintage greenback and just running that straight through. Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing? Thank you for joining this evening. Yeah, so I mic'd up the Laney with the greenback in it, and I also used the Cab Zeus here with their vintage greenback emulation, and just put those two side to side so that you could take a look and listen to how that sounds. The ambience of a room, of course, that you get when you're miking an amp like that. Versus going through an emulation that's supposed to simulate not just the room, but the same mic as well. You can choose a mic position, and I do believe the simulation of the microphone is the SM57. But they really sounded different. They were quite different sounding. Both of them, again, usable and great sounds. But again, I like the sound of that mic'd greenback that I have. It's a different sound. It's really nice. So I did that. I shot the video, and when it comes time to edit it, I was too frazzled to do it. So I promise you that will be the video that will come. I'll edit it. I promise tonight after we're done here. And I will put that out tomorrow. It's a good one. It's actually really interesting. I really want you guys to check that out and to hear that. It's very interesting to hear that vintage greenback mic'd versus an emulation of it. What else is going on? Well, tonight, hey, everybody, got more people joining. Well, I'm so glad everybody's here. Yeah, tonight's subject is going to be an interesting one. We're not going to talk about equipment per se, but we're going to talk about price increases in the market. Let me get a little bit more light on me right now. I feel like Dracula. There we go. All right, that's better. Yeah, Gibson within the last few weeks has pretty significantly raised their prices on top of the price increase that they did last October. We've also had a more recent price increase with Gibson guitars. Shure, PRS, Charvel, you name it, all across Fender, all across the board, we're seeing these price increases. Epiphone, interestingly enough, also had a price increase last October. We reported on it here on this channel. Talked about it, and my prediction was at that time, you can go back and see that going forward, you're going to see further price increases. And there's a lot of guys out there who are crying over the fact that an Epiphone, a top-of-the-line Epiphone, will run you anywhere upwards of $900 to $1,000. And that to a lot of guys is just something that's just unbelievable. It's a bitter pill to swallow. So to help them swallow that pill a little bit easier, or to explain that thing, I have brought out a Twinkie. Everybody know, maybe some of you guys know this. Twinkie is a very popular American snack food. It's been around for my God, 50 years plus. Company went bankrupt back in 2011. But somehow or another, they were able to turn. I'm a Gibson guy, but I believe they raise prices simply because they can, and not always based on the most. Yeah. Well, yeah, sir, and yeah, I'm going to bring that up about the Twinkie as well, but some because they can. Uh, in the case of Gibsons, we have to take a look at the cost of manufacturing. We have to look at the cost of healthcare for, of course, the people who work there, salaries, all those things, heat, electricity, all the things that go into that. And I still think that they were overpriced to begin with. And because of the fact that they were, in my opinion, overpriced to begin with, when the price increases that they have to make because of the market, I mean, we're going to talk about it with these Twinkies here about inflation. It's putting them to a point where the cost of a new Gibson and the used market have broke apart from each other. Usually you could expect to get anywhere between 60 to 80%, or depending upon some models, 100% or more. Again, depending upon the model that you had, a Gibson in return when you went to sell it. Now we're seeing in the used market that whereas a standard 50s right now is priced at $2,900, on the used market you can have them from anywhere between 1,900 to 2,300. Now there are some folks that are selling them at 28 or around that price. Those are dealers. Those are the guys who have the stock. And with dealers, they borrow money, they buy the stock, they sell it at not, they don't go from market price up, they go from down. So, but even then, they're still far off from the used market. And why is that? We saw that same kind of breaking with that Epiphone 1961 that they came out with when they originally set the price at $799. Which was the same price as the Les Paul standard 59 outfit. Case, burst buckles, the whole nine, but there's no way that in even a Gibson scenario where an SG is worth the same price as a Les Paul standard. So we saw the market drop on that, where now that's gone down to 600, $699 or something like that, shaved off about two. So the market found itself there. The market has not found itself as far as the used market with Gibsons and between the new price and the used price. And that's fascinating. There's a break in that market. If you don't believe me, just take a look at Reverb. Take a look at all your usual sources. I have. And I found it fascinating that there is this break in the market right now. Now, again, why did that happen? Just to reemphasize that Gibsons were overpriced. Really, they were a luxury item. They're a luxury item, guys. Let's just be honest. We can talk about the fact that even now, my Epiphone 1959 kit would be considered a luxury item. And so they're going to warrant a luxury item tax. But those were overpriced in the first place. They have to do these price increases. Now, let's get back to the Twinkie. I digress from my digression. When I was a kid, you could get two Twinkies for $1. Let's just round it off to about 1980. So two Twinkies for $1. Now, at the current market price, right now, you can get one Twinkie for about $1.20. Some places $1.50, which means that the value of these have, the serving has halved and the cost is doubled. And why is that? I mentioned that they went out of business in 2011, but they were bought up by, your standard, BlackRock type guys. And they survived that and now are doing quite well. However, as you see, the serving has gone by half and the value is double. I use this as an example because I think that you could use that with the new guitar market in the luxury items, the Gibsons, the custom shop Fenders, and things of that nature. The fact that their value, what you're getting is half of its value of what it is that really really what it used to be. Um, the woods on a 1959 Les. I keep using Gibsons, but it's really good for me because it's what I'm very knowledgeable about. You guys will excuse me, but you're looking at Brazilian rosewood fretboards. You're looking at 100-year-old plus woods at the time that they were made. Let's remember that the woods that they were being used at the Gibson factories in the 50s, those were 100-year-old stock. So even the maple and the mahogany, the Brazilian fretboards, the real pearl inlays, okay, silver plating, real silver plating. That's when a Twinkie was double. Now, with a Les Paul Standard, currently, let's use that standard 50s again, you're getting half the Twinkie because you're not getting a Brazilian. Heck, you're barely getting, a rosewood fretboard. You're getting, you're barely getting that these days. The woods are wherever and whenever they can source. It could be 10 years old. It could be, no more than 20. I doubt that, seriously. Maybe even younger. Young woods too. I remember reading a report about a guy talking about old woods and aged woods and young woods and things of that nature, and how a lot of these manufacturers are just sourcing where they can, and sometimes the wood isn't seasoned, I believe is the term. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, man, that Gibson Twinkie got cut in half. You're not getting, you're just not getting the appointments. The inlays is now synthetic mother of pearl in the standards. Well, not yeah, it's synthetic. That is correct. It's not, it's not abalone or any of those nice things that they do on the real high end custom shop stuff for the acoustics. But in any case, no, it's nowhere near that. You're getting a half pack of Twinkies, and you're paying increasingly now every 6 months a lot more for it. Now, what am I getting to tonight? You guys would think to yourselves, well, okay, there will come a point where companies like Gibson and Fender and all these guys are doing these price increases will price themselves out of the market. Who would be crazy enough to spend $3,500 for a Les Paul Standard 50s? Well, just like this Twinkie raised from the ashes, and what was the big resurrection spell that made this raise from the ashes? It was demand. Simply put, guys like me, my generation, who can afford a box of Twinkies every now. We're the only ones who can, because you got to take out a loan to get them. Hey, good evening. Thank you for joining. Yeah, it's demand. There's always going to be demand for custom shop Fenders and Gibsons, even just the basic stuff coming out of their regular shop in Nashville. As long as there's a demand, somebody will pay the price, and somebody will buy that. If that company fails, or if anything happens with Gibson, as you've seen numerous times since the Henry J era, even before that, how many times Gibson has been bought and sold, and it will continue because it is part of the pop psyche, not only of the United States but also of the globe as well. Fenders having a little bit more of an edge these days because younger artists are gravitating more towards Strats. But there will come another Slash, there will come another Jimmy Page, there will come another person who will elevate, Les Pauls up to those areas of demand again. Not to say that they need help. So Okay, and another point to support that statement is look at the demand. The cost has gone up on those bad boys, but if you speak to any reputable dealer, they're flying out the door. They can't keep them in. And as a matter of fact, the back orders on these things getting stretched. I know guys, I have read of guys, I don't know guys, but I have read of guys um, that I think are being honest who have put in custom shop orders that are 3 or 4 years down the line. And they paid cash 100% sometimes up front, just so that they can get pushed a little bit further ahead of that line. So yeah, as long as there is demand, these price increases won't make a difference. And you have to decide. That comes now down to you. I talked about this. This is I'm not warned because I don't want to. This is not one of those channels like, hey, everybody, the sky is falling. I don't do that here. I don't believe in conspiracy theories. There's enough crazy mess going on out there without getting into that. But I do believe in prediction, forecasting, and seeing future trends and things of that nature. I do believe that you are not going to see any decreases in these prices. And furthermore, on top of that, I don't think that you're going to see an increase in the quality either. 3 4 years should be able to find a local guitar maker and have yours. Yeah, there you go. Fern, who is our friendly local luthier. You guys know Fern if you're familiar with this channel. We visit him from time to time. He's about a holiday, working holiday for the last month, so we'll go visit him soon. He's building a guy in SG by hand, and he's using the original woods that they used back in the day for those 61, 62, 63s. He's using all the true and the quality. He has a huge selection of woods. His building time is really going to it's just him, so it's really going to depend upon him doing it, but it's not going to take 4 years. And I don't think anybody in their right mind would take it from Fern if he said, okay, I'll build you this, it's going to take me 3 to 4 years. No, the force is strong with this one, young Padawan. It's really that Bernays, man. You guys read who is the nephew of Sigmund Freud, man. It's really that marketing thing. It's strong. And that will lead a man who's saying to himself, well, I could have a nice master-built guitar that doesn't say anything. I put whatever I want on the headstock. Or I've got to have that one that says Fender or Gibson or Shure or Charvel or whatever. I really want you guys to dig that one because that's deep, as was just pointed out. Why would you wait 4 years? Well, I'll tell you why. It's the psychology of it. I'm a little funny myself. I never cared about him. I don't know if it's because when I was growing up, we played Cort bass guitars and guitars. You guys know Cort? Of course not, because it's like it's like the Sears Roebuck of instruments. But those are the ones that we had. We played it and because it was a guitar, or it was a bass, or it was a drums, or whatever it was an instrument that made a sound. And we learned how to turn that sound into something that sounded harmonious, something that people wanted to hear. Also, the resale value. It's not a door where you sell the name brand. Yeah. Let me go into that digression. Again, with the used market, with this separation in price, the market hasn't found itself on Gibsons, or in the case of Gibsons, I know it has not found itself. So this is not the time to sell either, because you got lowballers who are not dealers. You got dealers who are pushing that edge as much as they can because they want to make their margins, and they're sitting on this stuff. And you got everybody who's a buyer sitting on the sidelines saying, yeah, I don't know about this. This one says 22. This one says 28. This one says 33. It's just, It's just it's not the time. Everybody's sitting on the sidelines right now, and yeah, so it's the force is really strong with that desire to have a brand, regardless. So I myself, I never got caught into it, and I don't care what it says on the headstock. I got lucky. I was in Japan, living there. I had two dimes to rub together, so I was able to get what a Fender bass and a Fender Telecaster. Um, and I was very happy to have them, and I had them for years. Used them for all my records. The bass went. Got replaced by this Harley Benton here right behind me, and I'll be frank with you, I can't tell the difference. I really can't. They both of those basses, they weigh the same, they look the same, and by golly, those Wilkerson pickups in here, I think they do better with bass guitar pickups than they do with guitar pickups because they sound the same. They're based on the same pickups that Japanese Fender that I had. The same concept of a wind of a certain P bass, and they hit it on it, and I can't tell the difference, guys. And I don't care that one was, a vintage, well, not vintage, it was a 90s jazz bass, and that this one is a brand new Harley Benton. I don't care. I really don't. As long as if I sit down, if it's in tune, stays in tune, and I can play it, it can take a little bit of a beating, then I'm good with it. I don't have. You really have got to break free of that if you're going to get anywhere in terms of your wallet, your sanity, and any significant relationships you may have with a wife or a husband or girlfriend or boyfriend. To get away from that gas. Here I am again. I'm this is a disguised rant about gas, anti-gas rant. I guess you guys have figured that out by now. You're not going to see these prices decrease. Uh, Eventually, the used market on all this will find itself. The sideline guys will get back in, and the sellers will sell. The holders, the hodlers. The guys who are sitting on 20, 30 guitars and they're thinking, maybe it's time to lighten the load, but they're taking a look out on the market and they're saying it's not stable. Those will hit. And then the whole thing will go to crap again. We've been waiting, by the way, for this surge of used guitars, these COVID guitars, to hit the market for a year now. People have been saying, "Oh, well, it's going to hit this 400% increase in sales across the board with guitar manufacturers. We're going to see that in the used market when it has not showed up yet." Have you guys seen it? Because I haven't seen it. Why is that? Well, again, sidelining. Everybody's sidelining. Because the market is in flux. So anyway, you got that to look out for, guys. Do I think you should buy now? No. Again, the market's in flux. Why would you buy now? Sit on this. If you got cash and you're hodling, hold back. And there may be some deals that you could strike a deal with people. I see desperate times coming. I'll tell you that much. I see bad things coming on the horizon in the broader markets. And people will be selling. And that could drop the bomb out of the market because if you have desperation sales, that's not going to help either. So no, I wouldn't buy right. I'd wait if you're in the market to buy. But to be frank with you, if you look across to your left or your right and you have your guitar collection and you say to yourself, hey, you know what? Maybe I've got enough guitars. Maybe I don't need to be, quite anxious about whatever the next sure whatever bet it is, the thing you have to have. Even the days of saying, well, I can buy Harley Bentons because they're cheap and I can satisfy my need to have a such and such. It can fill the hole in my collection, people like to say. That's a big ass hole with some people because they keep on, The definition of getting out of a hole is to stop digging. If you want to get out of a hole, stop digging. Yeah, that hole in the collection, man, with some cats, it's a hell of a hole. But even those days, I just don't see too much of people doing because, again, like I told you, those lower end guitars, they have their place and they have their time and their space. But the cost right now of shipping them has gone up 5,000%. The cost of fuel, you guys all know it. You're feeling it where you are. You know, I talk about this Twinkie. I'm talking about the price of this Twinkie in the United States. I haven't even gotten to how much I pay for a Twinkie here in Europe or Canada for that. But for God's sake, think about how this recent price increase in Gibsons has affected cats in Canada. You know, which I already thought the price there was off the charts. It's just it's bananas now. So yeah, you know, that ugly head of inflation is here to stay. So I would advise, you know, just take a look to your right, take a look to your left, and just say to yourself, you know, I'm good. You know, we can really solve a lot of our desires by appreciating less, I've found. Now, this is just me. But, you know, when I have one or two guitars, I polish each one of them. So once a week, I'll take out my good polish that I got and I'll give them a once over. Take a look at the strings, check tuners, just to give them both a run through. That's the Epiphone 59 and the SG and this Harley Benton SC Custom, DC Custom. Because those are really only three guitars that I have at this point. I sold all my Gibsons. I sold the other stuff that I had, Fenders and stuff that I had. But I found with those guitars, they would always sit in their case for months on end. I bought a standard 60s and it sat in its case for months because it wasn't the one that I was reaching for. You know, and now that I'm down to the ones that I not only am I happy with, but I appreciate them. I cherish them because I love the way that they sound. I've put a lot of thought and effort into making them sound the way that I think they should sound. And I just like knowing that if all hell breaks loose, I can grab them and run. I'm kidding. No, I just sit there and I look at them because I have them sitting in the next room in there. And when I get up in the morning, I walk in their room, I see them, and I'm happy to see them. It's like, it's something. If I had a collection of them, I don't think I would feel. As a matter of fact, I've had a collection of them, and I know I don't feel the same. So there's that to think about, appreciating what you have. And once you appreciate what you have, you'll dig into it a little bit more, and you'll get to know it very well. I talk about your big guitar players. You know, I haven't got into a subject about guitar players who don't use pedals at all. They just use their amps. There's guitar players, like I said, who don't have huge collections. They only have one or two guitars and they run them down to they're nothing and then they buy another one. So that's the kind of guy that I want to be. Because those are the guys who really know that instrument well, what to get out of it, where to hit it to get where the sweet spots are. They've worked with it, and it becomes a part of you. It becomes, you know, when you pick it up and you plug it in, it's no different than, you know, I guess Darth Vader getting his arms on. Did you guys see that? Oh God, that show's terrible. Yeah, you know, it should become a part of it. I just don't understand how you can be a guy with a collection of guitars and do that. I tried that and it just wasn't me. Now, this is just me talking. And you can judge it any way. I don't know how young or old everybody out there, all 7 of you guys out there watching are. I don't know what stage of life you're in, but I'm just trying to throw out a little advice here. You know, don't you know, get for as far as guitars and basses and you know, keyboards, whatever. But drums, I guess a drummer will tell you the same thing too. Really, you know, get to know one that you really love and the clarity will come to you. You'll no longer be under the spell of must have. Chuck Berry used to own a new guitar every single. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good story. And so Chuck Berry got a new guitar every 6 months as a tax drop. Yeah, that's true. But that, tell you the truth, I hate to say it, but I don't want to get into that tonight. But that speaks about how things were on the Chitlin circuit in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Chitlin circuit is a kind of derogatory term for the touring clubs that most black musicians during that time go on, and how things were paid, and how you had to do a lot of squirrely stuff. I think of all those guys. Hendrix got free of that. He broke free of that by moving to England. But Hendrix wasn't loved in the States, and he wasn't particularly loved by the musicians. My Uncle Carlton, as you guys will meet soon, it was the guitar player for Fats Domino. He despises Jimmy. He says that boy couldn't play no guitar, because these guys are real blues players. But yeah, anyway, I digress. Uh, yeah, they used to do a lot of squirrely things back when you were in that situation, and hearing that Chuck Berry had to do something like that does not surprise me at all. Yeah, guys. Where are we at right now? Oh, sweet, 31 minutes. I have somehow managed to blabber on for 31 minutes, and you guys stuck with me. I thank you so much. No, just advice to you guys. I'm just kind of throwing it out there because I really want to save you, some grief where I can. Other ones, you're just going to have to learn on your own. A man can teach you two things: what to do and what not to do. And it's up to you to be able to discern which way to go in that situation. But everybody can teach you two things: what to do and what not to do. Dig that. And in my case, you can listen to me. But yeah, I wouldn't get in. And, with technology these days, you don't need a lot anyway. And if you're serious about recording, I see these cats with these huge room studios with, just it looks like the Death Star. And I really wonder to myself sometimes, what is being produced here? I've not heard one. Maybe they're doing something. I don't know. This is as scaled down as I could get. This is the minimum. I can't go any lower than this. I can certainly go up from this, but I found that this is portable. I can pack all of these things up into 2 flight cases and go to wherever I have to go to. But that's just, again, because of my lifestyle and my thinking also. So you can take that in consideration as well. I've spent my life literally on the road. So I've learned how to scale down, minimalize, but it saved me a lot of grief. So if that helps you in your gas, I feel that I didn't waste your time or mine talking about it. All right, so yeah, coming up this week, like I said, guys, I am going to be doing that show. You'll see the show that I shot, taking that vintage greenback, mic'd with this mic right here, the SM57. So so that you guys, because I was doing some overdubs. I was doing the mixing, and I was listening to a song, and I said, hey, I could put a wall on that. So I don't know where I put it, but anyway, so I used, oh, here it is. I think I showed you guys this before. So I used my vintage wah, SM57, and wah really only sounds good if you use it, through a real amp. Gotta go work about hours and sleep. Hey, you take care. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. You take care till next time. God bless. Yeah, so you guys know the vintage wah, these things really sound good through a live amp. I don't like the way it sounds through the Cab Zeus running through one of the pedals. It sounds okay, but it doesn't sound dirty. There's a certain amount of dirt you got to get and air that's got to be moved as well. So I did that, and so I was able to take some sound samples so you guys can listen to that this week and hear how that amped that mic'd amp sounds versus the the simulation, the Cab Zeus of the same amp with the same mic, a vintage greenback using an SM57 but simulated. Um, Again, guys, it's just a really interesting thing. You guys really should tune in for that this week. Check it out when I put it up and listen to that because it's quite illuminating. You know, there is something to be said about using IRs and things of that nature. In the case of this, this is quite an advancement, as I've said before. Just imagine that I have my selection of speakers that I can choose from, all within a little itty bitty box. I mean, I've seen them smaller than that. I've seen them as micro pedals, where they have great amp simulations and speaker simulations. And but I will say that again, in this case, there's a little that 5% is still kind of obvious, and you'll hear that this week when you check out the program. That the mic one sounds better to me. I'm not even gonna. There's no secret A and B test on this the one this week. I'm just presenting it out there and giving you my opinion. So you have that to look forward to. I am also going to be talking about the album that I'm working on. I really would like to put this one out on vinyl. So I'm looking into doing that. I'm not going to release it on iTunes or anything like that. I just don't want to play that game anymore. A lot of my friends and I were just, the royalties are just, they're god awful. So, but I want to share a little bit of it with you guys as well. So next week at Sunday at Mike's, I'm actually going to be playing you a little bit of it and talking about it a little bit and some of my plans and ideas and see what you guys think. So that's what's coming up this week on Upstairs to the Right Music channel. We haven't quite made it to 40 minutes yet, but I think I've talked enough tonight. I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in for this live stream. Again, down in the comments section, guys, really start putting in questions or ideas for shows or things that you'd like to hear me talk about. I really like to expand Sunday at Mike's out to at least an hour. Right now, it seems that 40 minutes seems to be the sweet spot, but I'd like to add an extra 20 minutes. Usually takes about, I write a script for a subject, it usually takes up the points as I go through and all my digressions. It usually takes about 40 minutes to go through, but I'd like to add an extra 20 minutes to that, doing questions and answers, and eventually as the channel builds up, to make that a whole show just to do that. So if you have anything you want to talk about or any questions about anything or any future shows or subjects that you want to hear about, whether you're watching this live right now or in the replay, put it down in the comments section of this video. I always check it out. I always reply to everybody. YouTube 101, be a good host. Reply to everybody who takes the time to write, and I do appreciate it, positive or negative. I do read every comment on every video that I've ever done, and I'm about to hit 200 here, and I've answered to just about everybody. I feel very happy about that because I want you guys to know that I'm listening to you. I'm actually reading what you say. So don't give me your bank account number. No, I'm just kidding. I'm listening to what you have to say because it's interesting to me. What I have to say, yeah, I can talk to the mirror, but you guys are the ones that are the stars of all this. It's you guys who I really want to hear from, and you're the ones that inspire me to look into things as well. So please do that, guys. I am going to go off and do so. Actually, I'm not even going to turn around and open up my Mac here and edit the video so that you guys can check that out. Anyway, into the next one. You guys take care, and God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.